Dr. Liana Seo looked at her screen, unable to believe what she was seeing. The planet, once known as Harmony, had always been a beautiful world. Green, blue, alive. Now it was on fire. From her small research ship orbiting the nearby moon, she had a clear but horrible view of humanity's most successful colony being destroyed. "This can't be real," she whispered, hands quickly moving across the controls. The ship's systems were recording everything: strange energy surges, unknown radiation levels, and the planet's atmosphere slowly being burned away. Just 3 hours ago, Harmony had been full of life. 15 million people lived there, in perfect balance with nature. The colony was praised for using advanced technology while protecting the environment. Golden fields stood next to glowing purple forests. The cities, built into the mountains, used natural energy and barely disturbed. The land. Now everything was vanishing. The first sign something was wrong came when communication suddenly stopped. Liana had been on the moon collecting samples when the alert called them back. By the time they got to the ship, the attack had already begun. From space, they watched giant black ships surround the planet. The ships were unfamiliar, but their sharp, dark designs made them unforgettable. Liana knew who they were: the Void Walkers. Humanity had met them 2 years ago. Back then, things had seemed peaceful. The aliens didn't attack, they just watched and left. But now, they were back, and this time, it was war. The ship's captain had wanted to run, but Liana begged him to stay and watch. "We have to record everything. Earth needs to see this," she said. So they stayed hidden at a distance, watching in horror as the alien ships moved into a perfect formation around Harmony. Then, at once, they attacked. But they didn't use missiles or lasers. Instead, they used strange weapons that controlled gravity. Mountains were ripped apart like paper. Oceans floated into space. The colony's defense shields failed immediately. Within 20 minutes, every single person on the planet was gone. After the destruction, smaller Voidwalker ships landed and began collecting something from the remains. 6 hours later, the entire alien fleet disappeared as quickly as it had. "Come." Liana sent all the data to Earth. She encrypted it and used the highest priority channel. She already knew what Earth's response would be: chaos. Her younger sister, Mira, had moved to Harmony with her family last year. Her little niece had just turned 3. Now, they were all gone. 3 days later, Earth received the message. Liana's ship couldn't travel fast enough, but the data reached first. By the time she returned to the lunar station, Earth was already preparing for war. She was immediately flown to Earth and taken to the United Earth Defense Command's main headquarters deep underground. The entire place was buzzing. Soldiers ran through the halls, screens flashed with emergency updates, and every military ship was being called back from the outer colonies. In the main control room, the leader of Earth's military stood waiting. General Marcus Lee, a man in his 60s, known for uniting humanity under one government 20 years ago. His face was tired but sharp. He nodded when Liana entered. "Dr. Seo, your information has been helpful. Tell us everything you saw." For the next hour, Liana spoke without showing emotion. She described the attack step by step. She showed the recordings. No one in the room made a sound. Then General Lee showed a photo of a smiling family: his son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren. "My son lived on Harmony," he said softly. "They were in one of the cities that got hit first." He turned to everyone. Harmony wasn't a military base. It had no strategic value. This was not a battle. This was murder. The intelligence chief stepped forward. "Based on the data and past contact, we confirm these attackers were the Voidwalkers. 2 years ago, they studied us. We thought they were cautious, but they were evaluating us. They were deciding if we were a threat." General Lee added, "Their tech is 200 years ahead of ours. Their weapons bend gravity. Their ships move through space in ways we don't understand." People in the room argued. Earth's army was too small. They couldn't fight a force like that. But General Lee raised his hand. 15 million dead. This was not an accident. It was a choice. He showed the current military strength. Just over 1,000 ships. "Not enough," he said. So we will build more. I am activating the Giant Awakening Protocol. From this moment, every factory in human space will build weapons. Every shipyard will work non-stop. Every scientist will focus on defense. We are at war, whether we choose to be or not. He turned to Liana. I want you to lead the research. Division, study the Voidwalkers, find their weakness. Liana nodded, thinking of her sister, her niece. Yes, General. General Lee looked at the team around him. They think we are weak, that we will do nothing, but they are wrong. We will answer with power they've never imagined. For harmony, for the 15 million gone, we will rise. 6 months after. The attack on Harmony, the red skies above Mars looked like they were on fire, not because of war, but because of the endless glow of shipyards. Mars had become Earth's largest military factory. Huge ships floated above the surface in different stages of construction. Engines burned, metal clanged, and workers moved non-stop, building the fleet Earth would use to strike back. Jun Tai, a retired ship engineer, stood on a platform, sweat running down his neck. At 59, he had hoped to spend his last years in peace, but after the Giant Awakening Protocol was activated, he received a message. Your skills are needed. Report to Mars Shipyard Alpha. So here he was again, checking armor plates and yelling instructions. Next to him, a nervous young worker, Mina, pointed at a finished panel. Is this good enough? She asked. Juntai looked closely, then shook his head. Good enough isn't enough anymore. This isn't a car or a cargo ship. If this piece fails, 300 people die in space. Mina's face turned pale, and she quickly ran off to fix it. Tay didn't enjoy being so strict, but there was no time for soft words. Everyone knew why they were here. Below them, a brand new destroyer, the Thunderlight, took shape. It was the 30th warship finished that month. A miracle, but still, not enough. The same work was happening across the solar system. Earth's factories stopped making luxury products and began building armor and weapons. Mining operations on Mercury dug deep into the planet, ignoring danger, pulling out rare metals at record speed. Giant machines floated above Jupiter and Saturn, sucking gases to power the war machines. Human space had turned into one massive war engine, and at the center of it all was General Marcus Lee. From his underground command center beneath Earth's surface, he coordinated the greatest military buildup in human history. Today he was reviewing numbers when his assistant stepped in. Sir, Dr. CO is here. She says it's urgent. General Lee looked up from his screen. He hadn't seen Liana CO in person since the day he made her head of Voidwalker research. When she entered the room, he barely recognized her. Her face was pale, eyes tired. Doctor, when did you last sleep? He asked gently. That doesn't matter, she replied, placing a data chip on his desk. We found something that changes everything. The general inserted the chip. A large hologram floated in front of them. It showed star systems with dates, energy readings, and photos. These are Voidwalker attacks, Liana explained, not just Harmony. We've found 17 other planets destroyed in the past 100 years. None of these are human colonies, Lee said, studying the map. No, Liana replied. These planets belong to alien species we've never met. Some had barely learned space travel. Some hadn't even left their own planet. All of them had one thing in common. She tapped the screen, and the view changed to chemical charts. Each world had high amounts of special elements, rare elements that the Voidwalkers always harvest after they destroy the planet. General Lee stared at the screen. So, this is about mining? Not just mining, she said. These elements are special at the quantum level. We think the Voidwalkers use them to power their gravity weapons and fold space engines. Harmony had those same materials, so does Earth. Silence filled the room. Liana looked up at him, voice low. Earth is likely their next target. Lee stood slowly, walked to the window that overlooked his command center. Below, officers moved like bees in a hive, coordinating the war. 15 million people, he whispered. All gone because aliens needed fuel. Then he turned back to her. Call the War Council immediately. 2 hours later, the planet's top military minds and scientists gathered. screens filled with live feeds from every colony and shipyard. Lee stood before them. Thanks to Dr. Seo's research, we know the truth. The Voidwalkers destroy civilizations for resources. They do not negotiate, they do not care. Earth is next on their list. Panic spread, but Lee raised his voice. This changes nothing, except now, we work faster. He looked at his top. Engineer. Production update? We've built 3,200 ships, the engineer replied. Another 5,000 will be ready in 3 months. Not enough, Lee said. We need 100,000 by year's end. That's impossible, someone protested. We're already pushing limits. Push harder, Lee snapped. Expand factories around Venus. Convert the Titan mining stations into shipyards. Use asteroids for raw materials. I gave my word. 700,000 ships. I will keep that promise. After the meeting, a young general named Ryu approached him. Sir, we're building the ships. But what about crews? We need millions of trained officers. I've approved the neural learning program, Lee replied. 6 weeks in the pod equals 3 years of training. It works. Everyone will be ready. Across the moon and Mars, learning pods buzzed to life. Workers, teachers, engineers, anyone who volunteered entered those pods. Their minds were filled with tactics, science, and battle skills in just weeks. Humanity was not just building ships. It was building an army. Meanwhile, in Antarctica, Liana worked with a team of scientists to reverse engineer Voidwalker tech. They tested shield generators every day, and every day they failed. We can't hold up against gravity weapons, her deputy said. The system overheats. The Voidwalkers won't wait, Liana replied coldly. We have to be ready. That night, she stood outside the lab staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Voidwalkers were preparing for another harvest. But this time, they had made a mistake. They thought humans were weak and divided. They didn't know what happens when humanity comes together. Not for profit, not for power, but for survival. The sleeping giant had awakened. Far beyond Earth, in the quiet dark of deep space, a sleek silver ship named the Olive Branch moved toward a place no human had ever dared go. It was a diplomatic ship, built for peace, but hidden beneath its smooth surface were powerful weapons and the latest tech from Dr. Liana Seo's research. It wasn't alone. 4 warships flew close, around it their eyes scanning every shadow. Everyone on board knew this mission could change everything. Ambassador Ji Yon stood tall on the bridge, dressed in a crisp navy blue uniform. At 62, she had spent her life making peace between nations and colonies. But today was different. We're almost there, Ambassador, the captain said. No sign of enemy ships. They're watching us, Ji Yon replied calmly. They'll come, and they did. Within minutes, space itself seemed to ripple like water. Then, as if pulled from a hidden dimension, 3 massive Voidwalker ships appeared. Black, sharp, and terrifying, they moved without sound. Their surface didn't reflect light. It absorbed it like the ships themselves were made from darkness. Ji Yon took a slow breath. Open communications, she ordered. After a long moment of silence, the main screen blinked on. A strange being appeared. It didn't have a face, just shifting crystals connected like a puzzle glowing with soft light. It pulsed as it spoke, its words cold and robotic. We recognize your presence. Your complaint has no value. Ji Yon didn't flinch. I speak for Earth and all human colonies. You destroyed harmony. 15 million dead. That colony posed no threat. We want answers. Threat is not relevant to resource collection, the alien replied. The planet contained required materials. Extraction was performed as normal. Lives were irrelevant. Ji Yon clenched her jaw. You stole from us. You murdered our people. Ownership is a primitive idea, it said. Resources do not belong. They exist to be used. Trying a different angle, Ji Yon said, we can make peace, share boundaries, create trade routes, work together. The being shifted shape again, as if laughing. Peace is inefficient. Your kind is weak. You offer nothing but the minerals beneath your soil. We are stronger than you think, Ji Yon said sharply. Stay away from our space. Request denied. This discussion is over. The screen went black. Their ships turned, preparing to leave. But Ji-yon turned to her communications officer. "Did we get it?" The young woman smiled. "Yes, Ambassador. While they spoke, we hacked their system. Data is on its way to Earth now. This mission wasn't just about talking, it was a trap. Hidden inside the olive branch were scanners developed by Dr. Seo's team, built to break into Voidwalker systems during face-to-face contact. And they had worked. 3 days later, in General Lee's command room, Earth's top minds studied the stolen data. The news was worse than they imagined. "They're planning more attacks," the intelligence chief said. "Titan Base, New Horizon, Proxima Colony. Millions more lives are at risk." General Lee leaned over the table, eyes burning. "When?" "Titan, 2 months. The others soon after." "How many ships are ready?" he asked. "Just over 50,000, replied General Ryu. "Most are smaller vessels. The heavy warships are still being finished." "Send them," Lee said. "Now, form a defensive wall around those colonies. Nothing gets through." "But, sir," Dr. Seo warned, "even 50,000 ships may not be enough. We can't match their tech. Unless—" Lee looked at her. "Unless we use everything," she finished quietly. Lee stood. "Do it. Release the black box projects." Across human space, secret labs opened vaults that hadn't been touched in decades. Dangerous weapons, unstable experiments, forbidden tech. Now it was all needed. On the moon, soldiers unlocked a chamber buried deep under the surface. Inside were blueprints for gravity lances, space-bending drives, and shields that could fold reality. Everywhere, these black projects were rushed into production. Training rooms were filled with officers, learning how to use weapons that had once been only theories. On Titan Base, a mining colony home to over 3 million people, massive shields were installed. The administrator, Cho, looked at the sky. "Will this be enough?" he asked. The officer beside him replied, "It has to be. That's the best defense we've ever built." Above them, a third of Earth's fleet moved into place, surrounding the moon like a wall of steel. Back on Earth, Ji-yon met General Lee for the last time before being moved to a secure shelter. "I failed," she said softly. "They wouldn't listen." "You didn't fail," Lee replied. "You proved the truth. They don't see us as people, just fuel." "What happens now?" she asked. "Now," he said, looking at the stars, "we show them their mistake. At the edge of Saturn's system, sensors picked up something, folding space, signs of arrival. The Voidwalkers were coming." On board the flagship Vengeance, Captain Min-jae received the alert. His ship carried the new shields and gravity weapons. Like most in the fleet, he had lost someone on Harmony. "All ships," he ordered. "Battle positions. Remember Harmony. Let's show them what it means to fight humans." 50,000 ships armed and ready lit up the skies. The battle had begun. The skies above Proxima Colony exploded in blinding light as the Voidwalkers arrived, hundreds of their dark, monstrous ships folding into real space. But what they found wasn't a weak, unprotected world. They had walked into a trap. From behind the nearby star, Earth's hidden fleet rose like a storm. Massive warships, sleek destroyers, and strange new crafts built with black box tech swarmed forward. In the center stood Defiance, the largest warship humanity had ever created. On its bridge, General Marcus Lee stood still, watching the chaos unfold on the giant screen. "Status?" he asked calmly. "All battle groups engaged," his officer replied. "Shields holding at 86%. We've caught them off guard." The plan had worked. After stopping the attack on Titan, Earth's command had guessed the Voidwalkers' next move. Instead of defending all colonies, they put everything behind Proxima. Now the enemy was surrounded. "General," said a voice on the side screen. Dr. Liana Seo on her science vessel in the rear looked anxious. "They're adapting. Their weapons are changing frequencies to get through our shields." "As expected," Lee replied. "Move to Phase 2. Across the fleet, formations changed. Big groups broke apart into small, agile units. The tight order vanished, replaced by what looked like chaos. But it wasn't. It was a new strategy, one designed by Liana's team after months of studying Voidwalker behavior. The aliens used predictive battle algorithms. They expected logic and patterns, so humanity gave them madness. Captain Rena Coe's destroyer dove straight toward a Voidwalker cruiser 10 times its size. Her hands were steady, heart racing. "Prepare proximity phase jump," she said. The ship vanished for half a second, existing in 2 places at once, then reappeared on the other side of the alien ship. A delayed explosion tore through the enemy from within. 1 down, thousands to go. All across the battlefield, Earth's ships did the impossible. They danced, darted and dove into enemy lines, using experimental drives that broke the rules of physics. The Voidwalkers couldn't keep up. On her ship, Liana's eyes lit up as data came in. "Their systems can't keep up. They're stuck fighting like they have for centuries." "And the biological connection?" Lee asked. "We confirmed it. Their ships are partly alive. The same beings we saw during negotiations, those crystal entities, they're part of the ships. That's their weakness." "Good," Lee said. "Then prepare the Sun Forge." Deep inside Defiance, engineers activated humanity's deadliest weapon, energy redirected to the front of the ship. A tunnel through space opened, linking the ship directly to Proxima's star. From that link, solar plasma, the raw fire of a sun, flowed straight into the battlefield. "Sunforge ready," said the weapons officer. "Target the command ship," Lee ordered. "Fire." A beam of light brighter than anything ever seen burst forward, not like a laser, but like a piece of the sun itself unleashed. It hit the enemy's largest ship, and it didn't explode, it simply vanished, erased from existence. The battlefield paused. Voidwalker ships froze. Inside them, the organic creatures felt something they hadn't felt in 900 years. Fear. "They're panicking," Liana said. "Their network's breaking down. They're retreating." One by one, the alien ships folded space and disappeared. Gone. A cheer exploded across the human fleet. But Lee raised a hand. "This is just one battle. The war is not over." Later, aboard Defiance, Lee and Liana looked over the reports. "Of our ships lost," he said quietly, "but we destroyed 23 of theirs, and we made them run." "They can be beaten," Liana replied, "and more than that, they can feel fear." "What will they do now?" she asked. "Regroup, evolve, come back stronger." "Then so will we," Lee said. "And next time we won't wait. We'll take the fight to them," and that's exactly what happened. Over the next year, Earth's forces pushed into Voidwalker space. They attacked resource stations, supply hubs, and key outposts. But they found something unexpected: prisoners. In the depths of one enemy facility, they discovered thousands of alien beings, survivors from destroyed worlds. Forced to work, their eyes dull with hopelessness. Liana led the first contact team. "You're free," she told them. "We're here to stop the Voidwalkers." One of them, a tall insect-like creature, stepped forward. "We are the Zanti. Our world was taken, but if you fight them, we will join you." Word spread fast. More species rose up, some secretly, some loudly. Resistance movements erupted in Voidwalker territory. The myth of their invincibility crumbled, and Earth welcomed every ally. The final stand came at the center of Voidwalker control, a station orbiting a dying star, their last defense. The battle lasted 3 days. Thousands of ships lost on both sides. Inside the station, General Lee and Liana faced the Supreme Mind, a massive crystal organism linked to all the others. It spoke in their minds. "You have broken the cycle. For centuries, we harvested without challenge." "The cycle was wrong," Lee said. "Every life matters. Existence is resource," it said flatly. "Then learn a new way," Liana added, "or face extinction." Behind them, ships from over 27 species waited. "You have a choice," Lee said. "Join the new order, or be destroyed." Some Voidwalkers fled, others surrendered, and so began a new age. 6 months later, on a peaceful station at the edge of neutral space, the first Galactic Council opened. Humans, Zanti, and dozens of others sat side by side. No weapons, no fear, just voices, just choices. Liana stood with Lee, watching through the window. "When we launched those 700,000 ships, I worried that we'd become monsters, that vengeance would consume us." "It wasn't about vengeance," Lee said softly. It was about justice. About making sure Harmony was the last world they ever destroyed. And now, she asked. Now, he said, watching the stars, those ships protect the weak. They guard the future. In the council chamber, a small, nervous alien race, the next species that had been marked for harvesting, stepped forward to take their seat. They were safe now. Thanks to humanity, the sleeping giant had awakened, and it didn't just survive, it changed the galaxy forever.